they come out clean.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Birds in the Buckets. This is the first episode of the offseason. I don't really count the last one because it's like it was right after, so we were still talking about games and stuff like that. But this is the first official pod of the offseason, and we have a special guest here with us tonight. But first, Malik, how are you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Monday night, chilling, maxing out, relaxing out, whatever my boy Will Smith said.
Yeah, that summertime feel. That's a Ron Will Smith song. Cooling on, acting on, arm and out, going out. Summertime relaxing and giving on, rolling out. Riding around Philly, yeah, with my boy Jazz. But last year I didn't know what it really was. Shout out to Prince, man. Shout out Jazzy Jeff, man. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know, my name is Rashad Milligan. I didn't even say my name in the intro. And as you guys have already heard, my co-host is Malik Brown. This is Birds in the Buckets. And today we are rejoined by a frequent guest on the show. By this point, he's like a third
Old
member.
faithful.
Old faithful. You might know him as Reggie's World. You might know him as Roa's Gold Unwooed Ace husband. Give it up all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, Reggie Mickles. Reggie, what the heck is going on, man?
What's up, guys?
What's going on, bro?
It's nothing much,
It's
man.
good.
How
It's
have
good,
you been
man.
since the last time we spoke?
Been pretty good. Just trying to reminisce everything that's been happening with the Hawks and them being eliminated and the NBA Finals and shoot, man, even watching USA blow another game. So, I mean, I'm sure we're not gonna talk about that on this episode, but
I mean, if you want to, you are the Lloyd Pierce.
No, we can.
No, I don't want to talk about USA. I don't want to talk about them.
I don't want to talk down on a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you feel? I think Glenn had a great point on the timeline the other night. And he said a lot of these people making the jokes about Lloyd Pierce were all up in arms about the SB joke of Trey's hair.
Right.
First of all, I don't think the joke about Trey's hair. So if you guys didn't know, Anthony Mackie, he hosted the SB's Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
He's the guy who what does he do? WandaVision. He one of those superhero Disney shows.
He's Falcon in the Winter Soldier.
Okay, yeah. I was about to say you might know him from the meme where he smiles like this, but he's the meme where he has like the mischievous smile, and he hosted the ESPYs this past weekend, and in his opening monologue, he mentioned Hawks guard Trae Young, and he was like, "Yeah, shout out to New York's favorite player, Trae Young," and he's like, Trey's hair looks like a lollipop if he dropped it on the ground. And it's like, oh, that's an original one. But
wow.
So that's how I felt about it. I was like, I don't know if Trey should be offended because it's literally the joke that he always says.
Here's what I think about that. The joke was so bad that Julius Randle was in the audience and he didn't even laugh.
No. So, Julius didn't laugh because he's scared of Trey. That's why he ain't laugh.
Well, that's true. But, I mean, the fact that he didn't laugh should tell you how bad the joke was.
Yeah, but Julius didn't want that smoke. But, I mean, hey, it's a joke. You know, he told another joke that I saw in the highlights or whatever.
Didn't he say I didn't see didn't he talk about Ben Simmons?
Got a big Simmons joke in.
Yeah. Ben Simmons joke. That one I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of funny because he brought out the kids, so the kids made it funny.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
I didn't see that part, but I heard about it.
Yeah, Ben Simmons joke. He was like, Ben Simmons is a great human. He's building all these houses made out of bricks that he shot from the free throw line in the playoffs. And then it's like showing a picture of them building brick houses. And then he brings out some children and they're like, "Thanks to Ben Simmons, I now have a home." And it's like, "Thanks, Ben Simmons." It was pretty. That part was, the kids made it funny. Because the joke was kind of like another old joke. Like a lot of the jokes he told was just
was funny.
Overused Twitter jokes. Like he had KD. This was the one I was talking about. He was like, KD, it's a brush, bro. It costs $2. I know you got the money for it. And I'm like, bro, like, folks told that joke in like 2012. Like, I think when dude put the brush to the TV screen of KD, like that was like peak KD hair.
Yeah, that was peak. No, that was
like that.
peak
That's
for
when
real.
you retire it, you move on. You know what I'm saying? It's like it is what it is. But yeah, like with Anthony Mackie joke, it was kind of like it was whatever. But Hawks fans took it so personally on Twitter. They're like, he's a terrible person and a human being. And I even saw some other non-Hawks fans who just want to be close to Trey. Let's talk about it. It was like, I didn't know that you promote. I'm like, you just want Trey to be your best friend. Like,
yeah,
leave it alone. Trey's not going to be your best. He's best friends with Quavo. That spot is already taken.
Yeah, Quavo has the. I mean, he's the biggest like rapper. Like to me, I'll give Quavo his props. Like when it comes to like Atlanta sports and supporting teams, like he is number one by far.
When that man showed up to Game 7, I was like, "Yo, this is crazy." No, he showed up to Game 1 in Philly. That was the one where I was like, "Okay." I mean, but we already knew this. Like, on my another podcast I used to be on and stuff. We were talking about how Quavo, he would just show up to like, he's a fan of the game because he would show up to like Wednesday night games against the Kings. Like, this was when the Hawks were bad, like a couple of years ago. So like, he's a.
I mean, he was there when Dennis Schroeder and Kent Bazemore were the.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I just want to let y'all know Gucci Man was at the Bucks game last night with all green on.
Yo, Chance the Rapper is like a full-fledged Bucks fan. Like, he was going to the games during the Hawks series, and then like last night he was waving the towel and screaming. I was like, when did Chance the Rapper become a Bucks? I thought he was Chicago everything. Like, what happened to Lawyer?
That's crazy.
Gucci, we already knew Gucci. Gucci performed at the
Gucci
Super Bowl 51 party. When he did that, it's like, okay, bro, like, it's talking about East Atlanta Center at the Patriots party at the ring ceremony. When he did that, I'm like, bro, don't be rapping on East Atlanta Gucci, East Atlanta Center at the, at the Atlanta's lowest moment, and you at the ops party talking about East Atlanta Santa. I came at a Christmas party. Drake sing the verse. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, dog. Like, ever since then, and then he came to the but the thing was, at the Celtics game, he had on a Jaylen Brown jersey. That's something a lot of people didn't acknowledge. They're like, he got a Celtics jersey on. It was a Jaylen Brown jersey. Who's from Atlanta? Gucci. That was a coach a couple years ago.
A while ago.
It was actually a meme. It was Robert Kraft, Meek Mill, and Gucci in the Jaylen Brown jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert Kraft.
He's been called in different jerseys though. I can't remember. I know it was definitely Milwaukee, Atlanta, Boston. I feel like it was like one more, maybe two more, but
what about T.I. though? What about T.I. though?
Oh yeah. We got a lot of unloyal
what did
T.I. man?
T.I. was in the Broncos stuff. He had a Saints hat on one time. Like, wasn't
that like 5 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
When the Hawks weren't really good.
When the Hawks weren't really
you don't see them when the team is bad, but when they're good, you see them again.
No, 2 Chainz was at every game when they were really bad too.
Yeah, 2 Chainz.
But it's funny because when they got good and everybody wanted to see them, like that's when he stopped going to the games. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like
he didn't show up to his own. He didn't. He barely. I mean, he showed up a couple times to
College Park.
To the Gateway. Yeah, he showed up. He showed up a couple times. I give him that. He did show up a couple times.
Yeah, I was about to say. I seen it on Twitter. He's showing up. Like he taking pictures with everybody and stuff. But what I was about to say about 2 Chainz. Yeah, I seen Cam Newton at one of the games. I thought Cam Newton was 2 Chainz because he had on the hat and he dreads and he was tall.
That's crazy.
It was Cam Newton. That's crazy.
Was it game 3 of the
Cam when he was whatever game I think it was an important game because he was standing the whole time.
He was at one of the playoff games too though.
Who? 2 Chainz?
No, Cam Newton.
Oh no. That's what I'm talking about. I thought Cam Newton was 2 Chainz.
Oh.
Because they kind of built the same.
Yeah, they super tall and have dreads, but like Cam is obviously like a little bigger and taller. But I was like, dang, 2 Chainz is tall. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was just Cam Newton, and because he's wearing the hats now. He's wearing the hats like 2
And the
Chainz.
sunglasses.
Yeah, and the shades,
Mhm.
But yeah, man, I guess yeah. How do you feel about the Hawks playoff run? It's kind of old news now. Kind of want to move forward, but I guess like just a quick wrap up of the Hawks playoffs run for you.
I mean, for me, it was unexpected for me. Like, I knew that they would beat the Knicks, but for them to beat Philadelphia and the way that they did it, like I mean, winning game one, I guess is like that's not too surprising, but like for them to in game four you're down 18 and then you roar back and you win that game.
26.
And then in game five.
There we go. My bad. I'm getting the games mixed up. Go ahead.
And then
I'm
in
sorry,
game
Reg.
yeah, and then in game five, you're down 26 on the road, and Joel Embiid in the first half of the game is just eating, shaking, and just eating Clint Capella's lunch. And Seth Curry is just making every single three. And then all of a sudden, you're down 26 and you just come roaring back. I mean, like if I'm a Philadelphia 76er fan, I'm like, how do you blow 18-point leads and 26-point leads in back-to-back playoff games? Like, I mean, how do you
They pulled in Atlanta on Atlanta.
exactly? Like, so for the Hawks to do that, for the Hawks to pull up to reverse that, and then obviously, they lose game 6 at home, and then when that happens, your Hawk fan is like, oh, here we go again, fall short, and then in game 7 they pull through and win. So in that realm, it's impressive and it's surprising. I think for the Hawks, just this underdog mentality that they carried really since Nate McMillan took over, in that each time they lose a game and you want to count them out, they make you look stupid. They make you look dumb the following game. And the Hawks just kept doing it throughout the playoffs until basically Trae Young, injured his ankle, and I don't want to get into all that stuff, but it was a fun season, fun run for the Hawks.
Well, that's the main thing. I respond to people who bring up the Trae Young thing because it's like,
Yeah.
well, the 2-time MVP on the other hand, it was out too. So I think, yeah, it's good, blah, blah, blah. The thing I was looking at is, okay, like Danilo said, like at the end of the day, the moment you had 2 prime chances, no Giannis, 2 chances to go in there. You won in Milwaukee before. Game 5, it didn't happen. Okay. Game 6 comes back. You got Trae back. They still don't have Giannis. You need to take advantage of that at home. 2 games away from the NBA Finals. It's the closest the franchise has ever been to the NBA Finals since they moved to Atlanta. 1968. It is 2021. I was about to say 2001. What is that? About 80 years? That's an 80 years. I'm joking. But, so 30, 40. Oh, man, I'm trying to do the math for real. 50, 53? I think that's 53. If that's right, give me a second degree from mathematics. But, like 53 years, going to Atlanta and, what I'm saying, that's the closest you've ever gotten to a championship. Like, you had your chance is what I'm trying to say. You had your chance. You don't know the next time, like, you're never going to have this roster again. Like, Cam, Herter, Hunter, like, this roster is never going to be together again and that's the way that money works. It's just the way, the reality of these things. You look at OKC and then, a health thing. And that's something that I said last episode with the 2017 Boston Celtics. They were young. They made the Eastern Conference Finals, and you're like, they're going to be here forever. And they weren't. They got hurt, and they haven't been back since, except for in the bubble, as Malik reminded me last time. But yeah, Reggie, if we can. Okay. I was just making sure you're still there. I'm making sure you're still there.
He's here.
I'm here.
But yeah, Reg, I guess, kind of before we stay stuck on the season too much, because people, they already heard about the season and everything like that last episode.
Right.
Moving on to the off season, what is your number one priority for the Hawks to fill?
Obviously Nate McMillan's back, which he's supposed to, I'm happy for him, and it was the right move to bring him back, so that's good. I think number one is obviously the John Collins situation. So for me, it's kind of tricky in that I think number one, I think the Hawks should pay John Collins. Ideally, if I'm Travis Schlenk, here's what I would do with John Collins. I would meet with his agent, I would meet with him, and I would try to come up with a deal that's in that. I mean, he's going to get $100 million. So if you're Travis Schlenk, you try to come up with a deal that's less than a max, ideally. Something like 4 years, 100-ish. It's kind of like where Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown had got a 4-year, $106 million contract from the Celtics. So if I'm Travis Schlenk, you try to. I think that if I'm Travis Schlenk, the Jaylen Brown contract is the contract that ideally that I would give John Collins. So you try to give him that deal. And look, John Collins is a key part of the team. You don't want to lose a guy like him for nothing. He's too good. He's too productive. He's young. So I would try to keep him. On the flip side with John Collins, though, is in about a year or two, like DeAndre Hunter's he's due for a deal. Kevin Huerter, you're gonna have to worry about how much money you give him. Cam Reddish, you have Clint Capella in a couple of years. Do you keep him, or do you feel that maybe in a couple of years or Kong will be ready? So you have to make a decision on him. So even though if I'm Travis Schlenk, you have to figure out a way to keep John Collins, there's still a real possibility that in a year or two, you might have to move John Collins, even if you resign him, because there might be, like DeAndre Hunter, for example. Like when you look at the pecking order of the roster, Trae Young is the franchise guy. Like he's going to get a max deal, maybe even a super max if he makes an All-NBA team in the next season or whenever. DeAndre Hunter, like I think he's a huge priority. I think maybe even bigger than John Collins, just based off his, skill set, the importance of two-way wings, his ability to create his own shot. So he's a priority. And so, like, what if Cam Reddish, like, if he develops, he might be a bigger priority. So, Kevin Huerter, you have to make a decision on him, obviously. But with, DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish and Trae and Capella and Okongwu, there's a chance that, like, all of these guys long term might be a bigger priority than John Collins. So Travis Schlenk has to figure out the John Collins thing, not just as far as how much you give him, but whether what you give him is enough to the point where you can move him and get decent value in return if it gets to that point in a year or two. So the John Collins thing I think is super important for this franchise.
Reggie, your camera isn't on.
Oh, dang! It's Wi-Fi. My bad.
But Yeah, I was about to ask, how much is Jaylen Brown making? Like, what is it per year?
It, I, the deal he got from the Celtics was 4 years, 106, but there are some incentives in there. I think if he makes an all-star team or an all-NBA team, but basically it's 4 years, 106 with the incentives that pushes it up to 115, I believe.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's in that. It's not a max deal, but it's in that 100
It's
range.
around there. Yeah. So I definitely think John is gonna get around 100. But as far like I was just while you were talking, I was just like, dang, is John Collins like really priority? Because I mean, you get the name and like, okay, of course you got Trey. Trey is franchise, and then I mean, DeAndre Hunter. You got DeAndre Hunter, and you got Cam. I mean, we don't know what Kevin's gonna be like, but he's shown this postseason that he's he's good, like really good. So I mean, at some point, I feel like you can sign John now, but at some point you could also trade him because it's like you can't trade him. You couldn't trade him this offseason. I mean, this the trade deadline because just the contract. You just is when you trade, you have to. It's all about matching contracts. So if you wanted to trade for him, it was gonna have to be somebody around his contract, or he's gonna have to ask somebody like Gallo or Clint or Bogey. So now that you have him on a contract that is tradable and you can match, okay. I know a lot of people saying Karl Anthony Towns. You can move John now and maybe Clint for Cat and maybe something else. Or whatever. I don't see Bradley Beal being here. I don't think it fits. But I mean, just anybody, honestly. Like you can
I
match.
got shooters in DC. Bradley Beal.
But yeah, so I mean, like at the end of the day, I feel like it's gonna come down to priority. Of course, John Collins is a priority this off season. He's definitely the biggest priority in my opinion. But I mean, just I feel like you can sign him now, trade him later if you don't want him, if it doesn't work out. So
Yeah, and they're gonna and like all these guys in 2 years aren't gonna be on the team. Like they're gonna have to make a decision on you want to keep John Collins or do you want to keep Cam Reddish, or do you want to keep John Collins or do you want to keep Kevin Huerter, or maybe you keep John Collins but you have to choose between Kevin Huerter or Cam Reddish. Like to me, the only guy that's a lot to be on the team in like 2 years, to me, is Trae Young and probably DeAndre Hunter. And the only thing that's probably and we're being honest with DeAndre Hunter, the only keeping him from being like near a lot
Reg.
where
Hold on, Reg. Hold on, Reg. Turn off your camera. Try turning off your camera again.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Now continue.
Yeah, so like they're not gonna keep all of these guys in 2 years. So you're gonna have to make a decision on do you want to keep John Collins or Cam Reddish, or John Collins or Cam Reddish and Kevin Huerter, or maybe you keep John Collins and you choose between Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, or for that matter, maybe it's John Collins and Cam Reddish and you got to choose between Bogey or like. Then they're not like they're gonna like one or two of these guys. They're not gonna be here because all of these guys are gonna they're gonna get paid. Like Kevin Huerter might get bogged down by Donovan's money. Like he might get 18 million. You know what I mean? And Cam Reddish is kind of like the wild card in all this because even though he was great in Game 6, we haven't seen Cam Reddish play at a consistently high level. So, like, if he plays up to his potential, he might get, he might get 20 million if he plays up to his potential, or he might get 12 million if he's inconsistent. So like it's a lot of juggling balls that are up in the air with what the Hawks have going, moving forward into the next one or 2 years. And it makes the John Collins thing kind of murky because even though I think they're gonna resign him, but just because they resign him doesn't mean he's gonna be here all 4 years.
Right, for sure. And that's an interesting perspective, Reg, that you brought up there. But kind of moving along, so that's about keeping the current core together and how possible is it to keep the guys together. My next question for you is, who do you add? Because, people say if you stand pat, if you stand still, you're moving backwards. Who do you add if you're the Atlanta Hawks this season or this offseason? Who are you looking at in the draft? Who are you looking at in free agency?
In the draft, I'll be honest, I haven't done like a super deep dive into the draft. Like maybe a few people have.
I was about to say same here with Malik and myself, but so don't feel too bad.
So I'm just gonna be basic and just say they should just take the best player available. Like, don't worry about backup point guard or center or like, don't worry about a specific position. Take the best player available.
Question for you, follow up. Do you think Onyeka Okongwu was the best player available at number 6 last year?
Personally, I think Tyrese Halliburton was, but I think what happened, and this is just my read on it, I think Tyrese Halliburton probably sent some signals that he didn't want to be in Atlanta. So, and I guess the Hawks.
He did.
Yeah. And I guess the Hawks kind of got caught wind of that, and they decided to take the next best guy, which was Okongwu. But I believe if my theory was right, and like if Tyrese Halliburton didn't send those signals, I personally think he would have been a guy. But I mean, that's here or there, and look, I'm happy with Okongwu. So
I heard that. Me personally in the draft, I am kind of looking, since I haven't done any research, I'm looking at the guys they already worked out, and then I'm also looking at another guy they haven't worked out, hometown kid. So I'm looking at Taylor Cooper's little brother from the fake MHS over there in Powder Springs, Georgia, and also Auburn University. And then I'm looking at who else? I'm looking at Deshaun Nix from G League Ignite. He's a solid point guard, man. Solid point guard. Just all-around point guard, not too big on numbers. The Hawks have worked them out. Those are two guys I'm looking at, but like, both of you, I haven't really looked at this year's draft that much, so I don't know. But as far as the guys that I do have some type of idea about, those are two guys that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Shout out to Andrew. He keeps talking about Trey Mann from Florida. As far as
Trey Mann, yeah, Trey Mann's tough too. Trey Mann's tough too.
I keep hearing about him. Of course, I keep hearing about Sharif Cooper. But I just feel like in general, brother. Like, yeah, I just feel like, I mean, Slank said in the like the end of the season conference, I mean, he said that backup point guard was going to be like something that they were definitely going to look into. I just feel like that's something that they really have kind of been lacking these past couple seasons with Trey. So honestly, in my opinion, I just feel like you should go out and get like a vet. Like, I don't know if a rookie.
Ever since Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. Yeah, right. I say the same thing. Ever since Jeremy Lin, it's really just been rocky. But I just feel like at this point, like you're winning, like you're going upwards now. You need to find a veteran to back up Trey. instead of trying to find a rookie that you're trying to groom. Like I don't feel like it's at this point now. Like you know that you're gonna win. You want to win. Ain't no time for grooming players at this point, bro. Like you either gonna be playing like good minutes or you going to the G League. Like I feel like at this point. So I don't know. I don't know what they should do. I feel like they should go with best player available at 20. Because I mean, I guess besides point guard, I guess what other hole can they fill? What other hole should they possibly fill? I guess another center? I don't know.
Maybe another four because you're so heavy on the wings, and then at the 5 you can go too deep, two quality bigs at 5, but
yeah,
at 4 it's like Gallo, Collins, maybe Solomon Hill sometimes, like what I'm saying. So it's like I think 4 is a good position to look at too for the Hawks. What were you about to say, Reggie?
I personally wouldn't mind them taking another wing. Like
I can't take any more wings, man. It's Billy Knight nightmares, man. Billy Knight nightmares.
But chances are, like, they're not gonna keep all of these. I mean, like I said,
they're not. Yeah, they're
They're
not.
not gonna keep all of these guys, so might as well just, if
draft
they
a Kevin Huerter replacement this year.
Yeah, if Kevin Huerter walks or Cam walks, you have a guy ready to replace one of them. So.
And salute to Kev. He's a great guy. He's just like it's just kind of fun because Kev has kind of always been the odd man out with the Hawks, like ever since they signed Bogey and everything like that. It was like, oh well, what happens to Kevin Huerter? What happened? And it's ironic that he's the one who steps up in the playoffs and Game 7 when they needed it and everything like that. And
shout out to Kev, man.
Salute to Kev. You are valued. Kev. But but I guess so okay. All right, moving on to free agency now. So do you think there's any chance to pry Derrick Rose away from Tom Thibodeau?
No. I don't see it.
Well, it was a great question, Malik. Do you think there's any chance the Hawks have?
Nah, but I have seen somebody recently on Twitter talk about Austin Rivers, and it was somebody. It wasn't Derrick Rose. It was Austin Rivers, and I can't think of the second person that they said. But I was like, those aren't bad. But I feel like Austin Rivers always gets traded mid-season.
Is TJ McConnell a free agent, right?
Oh yeah, they keep talking about him too.
I see McConnell's name everywhere for the Hawks. Like everybody's saying McConnell.
He would be great. He would be awesome. I like TJ McConnell.
He reminds me of a soccer player, bro, like on a basketball court. And that's not like a looks thing. Like he just plays like a football player. Like that's the way Steve Nash played too, like a soccer player on a basketball court.
I like TJ McConnell.
But I don't think. I mean, I like I said, I see a lot of people talking about Derrick Rose. I see people talking about use the 25th on the point guard. TJ, of course. I just seen Austin Rivers. I really don't know who is the ideal like backup point guard or like as far as free agency. I don't know.
To me,
Caruso. Caruso. That's what I've seen. Caruso. I've seen a lot of Caruso too.
You wouldn't be bad either.
Caruso, and I see a lot of people talk about he doesn't really have to be like. I mean, I guess when you come off the bench, you have Caruso, Kevin. I feel like they're saying Kevin will be the main ball handler. I mean, Caruso is really just known basically for his defense, and I mean he can shoot the 3-ball too. So. He really wouldn't be controlling the. You say what'd you say? White boy summer.
Hey, I said hot boy summer.
Oh, you said? I thought you said.
Hey, Malik said that.
Hey, keep it like Twitter said. Twitter said white boy summer. That's what Twitter told me. So we gonna keep it like that.
With Gallo, Bogey, and Kev, and then you get Caruso on the backcourt. Oh man, look, he go with the whole. Oh man, who do you put at the 5? You got to get someone. Miles Plumlee come back. You get Miles Plumlee.
We need more Plumlees.
Herder bring up the
No more
ball.
Plumlees,
You get
bro. No.
who at the 2? Who at the 2? Nah, I'm gonna put Bogey at the 2, Caruso at the 3, Gallo at the 4, and Plumlee at the 5, bro. Oh man, y'all in trouble now. Hey, but look.
That is fundamentally sound basketball right there.
Fundamental. He's like, what Steven Jackson tells Steve Nash? He's crafty. That's the crafty lineup.
He's crafty.
You got those guys out there, but look, I'm looking at who am I thinking about too? I guess it's really just those guys, but like we said, like I haven't done that much of digging deep into who's in the, but this is definitely still, all these first round picks are still kind of just important for the Hawks because, you look, we're talking about John right now. What was he like? Pick number 17, pick number 19,
19. He was 19.
Kevin Herter, what was he? Pick number 18, pick number 17, 19, 19 again. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, and then Jeff Teague was 20, and he was an all-star. So it's like, well, he was 19 too, right?
Yeah.
All right, you didn't know that one off top.
Hey, I mean, 19, 20.
Yeah, right, yeah. Teague was 19 or 20. Yeah, but yeah, you think about those guys, like, those picks are quality, minutes, you know what I'm saying? So, and then like we said, you're not going to be able to keep everybody. So, these picks are still as important as they were last year, because even last year it was like they had a top 10 pick, but it was like the Hawks are pretty good where they're at. They had another year of Cam, another year of trade. This was even before Bogey, before the Gallo signing and Rondo signing. So,
I mean, think about Travis Schlenk, man. Like, he's drafted Trae Young, John Collins, Kevin Herter, DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, and Onyeka Okongwu. And all of those guys they don't look like bust. Like, all of them look like hits. Do you know how insane that is?
Yeah, and Amari Spellman.
Well, forget about him. We can forget about it. But still, we want to be nice, like 6 out of 7. Like, that's insane.
For sure, really. For sure. I agree with you. He's been very on with his picks and stuff like that, but you have to see what he does this year and stuff. So, I mean, if you trust the track record, it's going to be good. But this year, I think for all of us, it's like, you just hope that scouting department was on their job, because Schlenk during the season was watching a lot of those college kids, was overseas watching a lot of those kids during the season. And this year, like, I think it's a position none of us, like writers included, like none of the writers were like, oh, yeah, I'm very comfortable with doing draft profiles this year. Everybody was kind of like, I don't know. And we're a couple weeks away from the draft, because it's like we've never been this close to the draft right after the season. And, we're still focusing on actual games. So I think we're all kind of getting used to it. So I think it'd be very interesting to see how the Hawks draft this season and stuff like that. But, hey, Kyle Kuzma was pick number 27. He turned out to be a pretty good player, He gassed himself up, and, you know what I'm saying? So now he's like trash, but, for what he was, a 27th pick, he's had a pretty good career.
I agree.
So, yeah. Let me see. Where do we want to move now? Do we want to move back to Hawks memories as we wrap up, Malik?
For sure. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, Reg. We was talking, the story came out. I don't want to self-promote, but Trey's dad was talking about. Trey's dad was talking about watching Mike Bibby a lot growing up. Mike Bibby is one of his favorite point guards, and that's my personal favorite team. I guess, of the Bibby, like the short crossover when Bibby and Crawford were both on the team. So for you, I guess with that era, what was your favorite moment from that era of Bibby, Johnson, maybe Marvin Williams, Al Horford? Like, what was your favorite moment of that era?
That's a good question. I guess the Boston series in 08. Like, I keep coming back to that. Like, I was there personally for game 3 of that series. And, I mean, the building was rocking. Like, it was nuts. So.
Oh, yeah, game 3. Yeah, game 3. That's when Paul Pierce threw up the gang sign. He threw up the gang sign.
Yeah, the gang sign. Yeah. But the crowd was nuts and the atmosphere was crazy, and seeing the crowd get behind that team and to see
No one expected it, Reggie.
yeah.
Outside of Atlanta, no one expected Atlanta to be like that. I think Atlanta people were surprised by how much Atlanta was behind the Hawks.
Exactly. Like, man, like this year's playoff run, like I feel like the excitement level was even though the Hawks had good teams, I felt like this year was the most exciting it's been since that '08 run.
100%
And
agree. 100%
yeah,
agree. I mean,
like
the
that.
60-win season had some nights. You know, you have to give
Yeah,
credit where credit is due. Where 19-game win streak,
January.
the OKC game, you know, Jeff T gets the steal and dunks it, and then does like this. And I
yeah,
remember like Mike Scott had a couple breakaway dunks in that streak, and you know, Corver hit a corner three with Mike Muscala behind him doing the goggles. And he dribbled it. It was one dribble before against the Memphis Grizzlies. Y'all remember that game? Corner three, end of
yeah.
the game.
I remember.
Kyle
I
Korver,
remember.
one dribble, side dribble. Dude, Moose is doing this the whole time on the sidelines. So that was a pretty electric moment for the city during that season. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like Lou Williams said it himself, you know, Trey was like, is this how the city always is during the playoffs? He's like, nah, this is different. And, you know, like to have that in a socially distant season is even more special. So,
You know,
yeah,
I'm gonna go. I got another one.
go ahead.
When they beat Orlando in 2011.
Well, and the playoffs or the Josh Smith dunk in the regular season?
No, that's not bad. That's a good one. But I think them beating Orlando in the playoffs, I felt like that was pretty nice because at that point, even though the crowd wasn't like as energetic as the '08 run, you know, they got out of the first round and it felt like, I don't know. It was something about that. It was something about them beating Orlando that
They
year.
couldn't beat
After,
Orlando. Like for
yeah,
the past 2 years, like Orlando swept them, but they swept them by like 80 every game.
yeah, that was a low point. But that I think them beating Orlando in 2011 was pretty. I wouldn't say it's my most memorable, but I felt like throughout that era, I felt like that was probably underrated.
That was one that people forgot. Zaza headbutted Jason Richardson.
Yeah, yeah.
People remember the Kevin Garnett headbutt, but they don't remember the Jason Richardson one with Zaza. But I would say one like this is a very geekish. Like I don't know if people are gonna remember this one. This was regular season when Bibby first got traded to the Hawks. '08, and this was the Toronto game. You remember the Toronto game in '08, Reggie, when Bibby first got traded, and this is the end of the season. The Hawks are trying to clinch a playoff spot. I think so. Bibby hits a three in the corner, and then he does a little dance, like headed back to the huddle for the timeout, and they all like, ah! I was like, oh, Bibby. And then you know, Toronto, they inbound the ball. Reggie, I don't know if you remember this. Reggie, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. Toronto inbounds the ball, and Al Horford tipped the ball, but you can't see it. Like, there's no way you could possibly see it in real time. But you know, Atlanta clocks, they always messed up. They start the clock when Al Horford tips the ball, but no one can see it in real time. And then, you know, I think Kyle Lowry caught the alley oop and he put it in at the buzzer, or it was like DeRozan or Jamario Moon or someone like that. And
Mm-hmm.
and yeah,
Were those guys there? Kyle Lowry wasn't there during that time.
no,
Was he?
he wasn't there. DeRozan was the '08 draft. Oh, so
Okay.
I'm off a year. So I guess Jamario Moon. Just say Jamario Moon. Jamario
Okay.
Moon was the guy who caught the alley and he put it in at the buzzer to win the game, but it was called back because you know Al Horford tipped the ball, and like
Right.
it was this big thing for the next day. Like Al Horford didn't tip the ball. Atlanta started the clock the wrong time, and you know that's just a game I remember because it was a regular season. Hawks were trying to clinch a playoff spot, and Mike Bibby hit the corner three, and they never had a clutch guy like that next to Joe. I mean, Al hit a couple big shots that year, even as a rookie, but still,
Mm.
you know, you still never had that kind of second guy like Bibby
Yeah.
was. So Bibby was at immediately, so I really like that game.
Yeah, that trade was it was huge. That was a huge spark for that team. They don't make the playoffs without that Bibby trade.
Exactly. And a lot of people forget that because they think about Bibby at the end of his Hawks years when he was just like a hobbling corpse of his former self.
Yeah, I think his first 2 years he was pretty good, and then he fell off a bit during
He just
his
got old.
third year. Yeah, he got old.
That was it.
He got old, and he just couldn't move anymore.
Malik, is there any? Oh, go ahead, Reg. My bad.
No, I'll say they traded him for Captain Kirk. So.
Hurt Rich had the goggles, man. That was my guy. But Malik, any thoughts on that era before you wrap?
I don't know what y'all talking about.
Malik was five. He was inside. He went outside. Yeah, I'm talking about the days when folks was talking on Twitter, man. Something real spicy, man. Hey, Reg. Hey, another one I want to go back with you on, man. This was a legendary night, man. I think it was 2010, 2011 season. And Jason Kidd, bro. This man, Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
My gosh. He was on the Mavericks. And Woody's out on the court arguing a call. Jason Kidd runs into him, and he gets the call, and it was like someone act like they had a drink and spilled it. It was something like that, bro. It was something.
Oh, I remember.
Wait, is that where he got that from when he was the coach for
for Brooklyn? Yeah.
Wow.
Like he was on the Mavericks, and Woodson was on the court like arguing a call with the ref. And he runs into Woodson, and he gets technical free throws, and the Mavericks win the game. It's on ESPN Friday night. Hawks only got like 2 ESPN games a year, and that was one of them.
Jesus
and I was just mad. I was all on the timeline just tweeting through it, man.
I remember that game.
But those were the days, man. Malik was inside. He don't know nothing
about it. 2008, I was heavily invested in WWE. I cannot. That's all.
That's not that bad. I thought you were gonna say like I didn't watch sports at all. Like at least you were watching something, you know. but I guess now final question for everybody, Reg. Okay. 4 members of your Hawks Rushmore.
You say it again?
Hawks Mount Rushmore. 4 members. Who do you have?
Okay. All right. Dominique Wilkins. Trae Young. I'm putting them in there. Dominique Wilkins, Trae Young. Dikembe Mutombo. Got to put him in there. And I got to go with Al Horford. Got to go with them.
Al over Joe Johnson?
It's tough.
You'll change it next time you're on.
You know what? Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson.
Joe.
I'm gonna say Joe. Joe Johnson, Trae Young, Dikembe Mutombo, and Neek. Those are my 4 guys.
I'm gonna go with the exact same 4 for this week. Malik, who you got this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Neek, Trae, Joe, and Al. If that's the same thing that he said? I mean that y'all both said.
He said Dikembe.
Okay. Yeah. I think mine's been the same like the past 3 weeks. I don't know if I'm gonna change it anytime soon.
I heard it. Well, everybody.
Oh yeah, no. I said I'll change it if Jeff win the chip. If Jeff win the chip.
Oh yeah.
Jeff going in there. Jeff going in there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Shout out my boy Josh, man. My boy Josh came on with the hot takes, man, talking about Jeff T, man. I'm like, hold on now. Come on, dog.
What'd he say?
Well, he was just talking about Jeff T all episode. Like, yeah, I just remember Jeff T, he really the player that got me into the Hawks. And I'm like, bro, like, he was never like, like, Jeff T was good, but dang, bro, like, he the person that got you into Hawks, baby. Hey, to each his own, but, I think he even had Jeff Teague on his Mount Rushmore. But yeah. So I guess everybody just go around, you know what I'm saying? If you're new to the channel, this is the road to 2K subs for Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Appreciate all the support, all the comments and good stuff like that. Malik or Reg, go ahead and shout out your socials where the people can find you.
My social media is Reggie's World, REGGIES_world, WORLD.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at _Malik ATL.
RashadMilling.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Free Kennedy Carter. What are you doing? Free Kennedy Carter. All right.
Oh yeah. That's. I don't know what's going on with the dream, but it's not.
Until next week.
And if they come out clean.